Hello and welcome everyone, it is me the lover, also known as the How to Do This, back for you with a small, pun intended, small world guide for Morphtronics. As I've been playing the card recently a lot in a recent build and it is doing some work. And with that I would like to share some bridges with you guys that I think are important to keep in mind when you are running small world in Morphtronics. But first off, a couple things to get out of the way. This, of course, will not, entail every single bridge Morphtronics has to offer, not only because some bridges are more relevant than others, and I think I focused on a couple of the more relevant ones, including a couple niche ones, depending on your build to, allow for a bit of additional theory there, but also because we would be sitting here for a while. And yeah, I think we both don't want to do that. Next up, if I am talking about a cell phone at any point in this video, that could also mean smartphone or telephone. These three cards are identical in their small world properties, and when you could be adding or revealing a cell phone, you could also be revealing smartphone or telephone. And last but not least, these bridges are reversible. So if you would usually be revealing card X to reveal card Y to add card Z, you could also reveal card Z, reveal card Y, and then add card X if the situation calls for it. And with that out of the way, I think it is very much time to, get into those important font bridges, since I've been talking about those fonts at the start. The first one here begins with any level 4 or higher Morphtronic except Videon in your hand. You will be going ahead, revealing that, and then revealing a copy of Gizmek Naganaki, a really incredible card if you're planning on playing small world in your Morphtronic list, from your deck, and then adding to your hand a copy of your desired font, in most cases cell font for that matter. Moving on, the next bridge, you will be revealing a copy of Morphtronic Radion in your hand. You will then be revealing a copy of Morphtronic Scopen or Gizmek Naganaki in your deck to add yourself a copy of Morphtronic Cellphone to your hand. Next up, the other level, the first of the level 3 tuners. We have Morphtronic Remoten. You will be going ahead, revealing that in your hand, and then revealing a copy of Morphtronic Videon, Morphtronic Slingen, or Gizmek Naganaki in your deck to add yourself that copy of Cellphone to your hand. Then the real other Morphtronic level 3 tuner in Morphtronic Scopen. You will be revealing Scopen in your hand and then revealing a copy of Morphtronic Slingen in your deck to add yourself a copy of Morphtronic Cellphone to your hand. Now for a couple niche ones, but they still have like some applications in some kind of niche builds, you will be revealing a copy of Morphtronic Borden in your hand and then revealing a copy of Morphtronic Videon, Morphtronic Slingen, or Gizmek Naganaki in your deck to add yourself a copy of Morphtronic Cellphone to your hand. And closing off the segment is revealing a copy of Morphtronic Lantron in your hand. You will be revealing Lantron and then revealing a copy of Morphtronic Slingen in your deck and then add a copy of Morphtronic Cellphone from your deck to your hand. These are, I think, the most applicable set of bridges. I do prefer Cellphone generally as a starter for the deck, as with the extenders at hand, you are more likely to play out of that situation. If that Cellphone gets, hit with a Veiler, an Imperm, or an Ash Blossom, as you just have more options compared to your other starters. But on the topic of other starters, and if you may be in the know that your opponent is on low hand traps or doesn't have any hand traps at all, adding the powerful card known as Gadget Gamer from your deck to your hand can be very, very devastating. You will be starting off again once more with any level 4 or higher Morphtronic except Videon, and then revealing a copy of Gizmek Naganaki from your deck to add yourself a copy of Gadget Gamer from your deck to your hand to get your play started, And then we are once again moving into the level 3 tuners, starting off with Morphtronic Remoten. You will be revealing Morphtronic Remoten in your hand, then revealing a copy of Morphtronic Videon or Morphtronic Slingen in your deck, and then adding from your deck to your hand a copy of Gadget Gamer. Next up, the other level 3 tuner in Morphtronic Scopen once more. You will be going ahead, revealing that Scopen, and then revealing a copy of Morphtronic Slingen from your deck to add yourself a copy of Gadget Gamer from your deck to your hand. Then again, Borden. You will be revealing Morphtronic Borden in your hand and then revealing a copy of Morphtronic Videon, Morphtronic Slingen, or Gizmek Naganaki from your deck to add yourself from deck to hand a copy of Gadget Gamer. Last but not least in this segment, once more, is Morphtronic Lantron. You will be going ahead, revealing a Lantron in your hand and then revealing a copy of Morphtronic Slingen in your deck to add a copy of Gadget Gamer from your deck to your hand. Gadget Gamer bridges are definitely a bit more niche, but as mentioned at the start of the segment, if you might suspect or know that your opponent is low on those hand traps, Gadget Gamer is a very powerful starter that allows for some pretty explosive plays, especially if you've already opened one or two of the fonts, because you can just add the other ones that you need of the normal summon effect and then kind of pop off. Last but not least, since I've been talking a lot about Gizmek Naganaki in this video, the card's just, good in Morphtronics in general, but also has some neat synergies with Small World that we will be talking about shortly. But first off, let's get into some bridges, how to search this guy. You will be starting this one with Morphtronic Scopen in your hand. You will be revealing Scopen in your hand, Salphon in your deck. Yes, this might look weird, but hear me out. And then you can add a copy of Gizmek Naganaki from your deck to your hand. Now, Small World banishes the cards you reveal in your hand and deck face down. Why would you be revealing such a central card like Salphon? The answer is simple. Gizmek Naganaki's graveyard effect allows you to banish it from the graveyard to add one of your face down banished machines with equal attack and defense from your face down banished pile to your hand. So you can already see, you can add that Salphon you just banished, since Salphon's attack and defense are equal, from your face down banished pile to your hand, which is pretty crazy. There's a couple more Morphtronics that share this attribute, of course, with Salphon, also the other two fonts, Intelliphone and Smartphone, but also copies interesting cards like Morphtronic Lantron or Morphtronic Videon share this trait. So keep that in mind when you're playing those cards or making choices for your Small World build. Then, on the topic of Morphtronic Videon, for the next one, you will be starting off with a copy of Morphtronic Videon or Morphtronic Slingen in your hand. You will be going ahead, revealing one of those two, and then revealing a copy of Morphtronic Salphon in your deck to add yourself that copy of Gizmek Naganaki. Again, you have the possibility to add a couple of those face-down banished ones back to your hand for some further plays. Last but not least, once more, is the small guy Morphtronic Lantron. You will be going ahead, revealing that guy in your hand, and then revealing a copy of one of a couple cards, either Morphtronic Scannen, Boomboxen, Staplen, or Slingen, or a copy of Morphtronic Remoten to add yourself a copy of Gizmek Naganaki from your deck to your hand. Now for some more general bridges that entail some generic cards and maybe a bit of additional theory to play around with. Something that has been coming up for me quite a bit is revealing a copy of the Iris Sword Soul in my hand. Yes, I am not kidding. You will be revealing Iris Sword Soul in your hand and then revealing a copy of Morphtronic Videon, Morphtronic Scopen, or Gizmek Naganaki in your deck to add yourself a copy of Morphtronic Salphon from your deck to your hand. In general, I think light is one of the better attributes to bridge into or from to, as you have a couple in archetype lights that you're running, like Scopen or the Gizmek Naganaki, that just easily lend themselves to bridge into Salphon, as they don't really share much with Salphon besides being machines. For some maybe more applicable generic cards, I think Effect Veiler could also work in place of the Iris Sword Soul there. But if you want a bridge to, add those cards maybe, revealing a copy of Morphtronic Remoten or Gadget Gamer if you have a second one in hand, in your hand, and then revealing a copy of Gizmek Naganaki will get you to a multitude of powerful light monsters, such as Effect Veiler or maybe even Nibiru. Otherwise, Earth I think is a, no-brainer in making that good in the deck. You could be revealing a copy of Morphtronic Scopen or maybe a Gizmek Naganaki you have left over in your hand, and then reveal a Earth level 4 or higher Morphtronic or a copy of Salphon in your deck to add yourself maybe a copy of Ghost Bell to your hand, if that's, a hand trap that is good in your current environment of play. But the name has been popping up quite a bit in this video. With the addition of Slingen, you can, bridge from and into a powerful hand trap like Droll and Lockbird, for example. So, you know, revealing a copy of Morphtronics Scopen, Morphtronic Remoten, Gizmek Naganaki, or Morphtronic Southbound in your hand, and then revealing a copy of Morphtronic Slingen in your deck, you can go ahead and add yourself a copy of Droll and Lockbird from your deck to your hand, which, you know, has some powerful implications depending on the format. I think that was really large, really big when Drytron was still a menace in the format. But yeah, there is definitely, as you can see, a good bit of theory behind Small World in the deck, and this video probably doesn't even cover half of it. Just an incredibly flexible search card that you have in Small World, that due to, you know, some like niche inclusions in the deck, mainly Gizmek Naganaki, or even, you know, some of the higher level Morphtronics, those also lend themselves very well for some bridges. Definitely has a lot of uses, and I must say I am definitely sold on this card. It's been really cool to run, be it, you know, to add like maybe follow-up or an Iris Sword Soul at the end of a long combo, or just, you know, get me to starters in case I didn't see any, to, you know, help improve the consistency of the deck. I think mathematically I'm like on a bunch of starters by this point. So I am very good on that. But with this out of the way, what is your opinion on Small World in Morphtronics? Have you been running Small World in Morphtronics, or has this video maybe convinced you to try out the card in your Morphtronic build? Let me know those things down below. I'm always glad to hear about those stories. But with all that out of the way, I will thank you guys very much for watching and see you guys again next time. But until then, goodbye.